Hey, everybody. Welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I am very excited today to be here with Billy Ho, the Talent Mobility Senior Manager at Electronic Arts. Billy, how are you doing today?
Very good. Happy New Year to everyone. Happy New Year, Ben Cross.
Happy New Year, Billy, and Happy New Year to everyone out there. This is only our second show of the new year. We are upgrading the whole vibe here on Love and Reload, and Billy, I'm so excited for you to be a part of that. And today's really cool because we're going to be talking about resolutions. We're going to be talking about kind of leveling up things in our life. And Billy, I'm excited to hear your thoughts around these things. And for everybody that's checking in right now as you're kind of coming in, hit that like button. Let us know you're out there. Feel free to get in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you are, what company you're with. You know, should we ask people what their resolutions are, Billy? Are we allowed to do that? That's kind of personal, but
Hey, if anyone's willing to share, I would love to hear it. Get some ideas, get some cross collaboration going. Hey,
yes.
anything goes.
Yeah, let's crowdsource. If people need, virtual accountability partners, I mean, we could be here for them. We got people checking in. We got friends. We got a lot of friends in common, Billy. This one right here, Tanya. Love Tanya, right? Isn't she great?
Tanya is great. Happy New Year to all the folks saying hi and Happy New Year.
Amanda, Jody. Good to see Jody here. Daryl Stern, Jeremy Kopp. David Yakum. What's up, David? Used to work with David. Very cool. Yeah, get in there. Let us know. Do you got any New Year's resolutions? Does anybody want to do anything different this year? Billy, you want to share with us maybe kind of what you're thinking about in terms of New Year's resolutions? I haven't even set one, so I could be inspired today.
All right, let's just share. Let's just share and come up with some new ideas. I have a couple already written down. I strongly believe in having goals, because that's what I'm aiming for, and that's what drives me for the year. So that's what I always do, spend the first day writing up a couple of the goals. And so for those who knows me, I have my cat who loves to show on the screen. So
Whoa, we got to bring the cat back. We got to bring the cat back here. What's the cat's name? Let's give the cat some spotlight here.
The cat's name is Stinky Tofu. And people
Stinky Tofu.
Yes, he is.
I love it. Where's Is it Mr. or Mrs. Tofu? Where's Stinky Tofu at?
Stinky Tofu just went off to the ground right now, but yeah, he might just jump back in again. For people who knows me, not surprised. He might just come on.
I love it.
He's actually the puppet master behind all the things that I say.
Billy's not a real person. It's actually Stinky Tofu running the show over at the Talent Mobility Department at EA. That's great. Lisa Ross coming in here. I'm going to hear about these resolutions. We got people checking in here. First one, they set the tone. They're saying, yes, Happy New Year. Does anyone have resolutions? Put them out here. Who would be so bold as to declare a resolution? They have Maria checking in. Jana from Brazil, big fan of New Year's resolutions. Jana, do you have one? Put you on the spot there. Cedric Castro from South Africa. Look at that. Wow. Fantastic. Oh, we got one. This is the year of checklists and organization and stopping the procrastination. Billy, is procrastination something that you deal with?
Oh, procrastination is, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but speaking for myself, yes, it is. And so that's the reason why I put clear goals, checklists, as some of the people have been written it down, goals to just keep me motivated and keep me in line and just strive for those goals.
Is there something about goal setting and checklists? Like, I'm one of those people, Billy, I'll be honest with you. I sit down in the morning, at my computer, and I'm like, I start just kind of brain dumping my to-dos, for today that don't get done, and it's like, I have like a dozen or whatever. And I mean, I swear, half of those things roll over to the next day. I can't imagine how many of my yearly to-dos are rolling over. Is there a trick to like getting those done?
Personally, what I do, writing it down on a piece of paper helps a lot. So that's already a great first step. I always write down 80% of what I'm going to do for that day and keep that 20% on a flex time, in a sense, just for me to address anything that I miss, anything that expands, anything like that, any of such sorts, give it the flexibility. But I write down 80% of what I'm going to do that day, and I push myself to get those 80% done.
I like how you plan for flexibility. I think that that's probably something that I could see getting, you plan your whole day out, right? Well, okay, where's the flexibility when everything doesn't go as planned? And then it breaks something. So, I mean, I kind of like that planned flexibility. I'd love to know if anybody else has any other tips around goal setting and planning. One of the best tips I got around planning my day, Billy, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this before, but it's like dump everything onto a to-do list. Put a amount of time next to each thing that it takes, right? So if it's 0.5 hours or 1.0 hours or 2.0 hours, whatever, add that up and then see how much stuff you really have. And a lot of times it'll come up to like 6.5 hours. So you're like, first of all, it's all possible. And then the second thing is on the other left column, order it in order of importance, and then do the first thing first, and then work down everything and just cross it off. And for me, that's something I've used to declutter my brain and kind of just zero in, because I tend to my mind goes all over. So I tend to just being able to just do that thing, cross it off, do that thing, cross it off, for me is a freeing thing.
It is, and it feels good to be able to cross things out. So I would add a third layer to that tips is think about what are things that you can collaborate on, or what are things that you can leverage other people's expertise on. And that might just actually give a better outcome because other people is going to do the same for you. Cross collaborations.
How do you get people to buy into collaborating on your goals, though? What if aren't they going to say, "Oh, Billy, that's great, man. I got my own problems."
Yeah, but so that's why it's usually being used on a team, at least on my team. That's how we do it. It's because we all have a common goal to how to make our EA program, mobility program, an all-star program. So we have a common goal. It's more about the details of how we work together in reaching that goal.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Relying on that team is great here. We've got some people checking in here. I want to kind of honor some of these people who are coming in here. Billy, is that all right? Can we see what people are saying their goals are and their resolutions are? We've got Jody here. Continue to be the best partner of choice for our customers and clients, and to provide efficient, flexible, and cost-effective solutions and tools to provide the best smooth experience. I manage via lists, helps to prioritize and to feel productive. Dig it. I like it. It's a very robust goal. I think it's important also to find ways to measure success with your goals. Billy, is that something that you how do you make sure that what kind of measurement components do you put into your goals?
The first most is how you will accomplish it, whether you can accomplish it, right? Second is to really utilize what it relates to, whether that be however you want to quantify it. Maybe it's by dollar, maybe it's by the time saved, maybe it's by how smooth an experience it might be. Again, all of that, use some sort of measurement, like you said, Ben, because that is what motivates, at least part of my motivation. That's what motivates me to complete the goal, is when I have something to measure against.
Yeah, I definitely like the measuring factor. I think it's a challenge, to speak not kind of in vagueness, but to kind of get to okay, what is SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely, something like that. Carlos says one of our Rockstar consultants shared the following about resolutions, which I loved. One, focus on how you want to feel. Avoid resolutions with number goals. Okay, so Carlos is going the other way on me. And resolutions should always spark joy. That's really interesting. What do you think about that approach, Billy?
Number 3 is powerful, right? You need to enjoy what you do in order to have that motivation. I always believe in that. So that Rockstar consultant is definitely a rock star, just because aim for something you want to do that brings you joy, because you will only be that much more effective when you love what you're doing.
Yeah. No, that's I like the spark joy thing. I think sometimes we're too logical in our goals, right? And we're too analytical in our goals, and we forget hey, we're just people over here. And I'm over here trying to get my computer plugged in. Here it is.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for Adam, the producer over here. Can't even get my computer plugged in properly here. That's great.
One of the things I heard in our company, we always say, at least that reflects in our company, and I always hold it as truth, is whatever we do, just remember that we're a gaming company. What we do should always be fun. And that's I use that as my truth when I plan for my goals and do what I do every single day.
I love that, right? It's like, remember, we're over here making games. So if we're not having fun, it's like, what are we doing, right? You know, I tell you what, your company does spark joy in quite a few people. I mean, what is it like working for a company that's a gaming company where it's your job, your mission, your purpose to make people have a great time?
Let me first just say is I'm a gamer myself. So being able to work in the electronic arts is definitely a dream come true as a little kid. So that will always be true. Now, working for electronic art is great, right? Because there's just a lot of creative people around us on how to share idea, how to cross collaborate to make any programs better. So both of which is a blessing and a challenge, right? Because there's a lot of creativity. So there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen to work with. But I found that as an opportunity, and I found that as a motivation.
Yeah, I mean, is that like a dream for you as a gamer to work at EA?
Heck yeah, right? one of the perks is closed alpha, being able to test game before it even goes out to the public. That
is that like something you get to do? Like
That's
you're a part of that?
I get to do. Yeah, exactly.
So are you getting like Madden before it even drops? Like are you getting
I get to test some of those games before it drops, before it even goes out to public, before it even becomes an actual game. Look at that. Dream come true for a little kid like me.
That's so cool. Look at this. Tyler saying gamer life all the way. Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, Robert's saying open to new things, open to different perspectives, open to new people, open to how much Billy games. No, that's super cool. I remember playing John Madden football back before it was Madden year, back when it was John Madden football. I think it was 1990 or 91 when it dropped. And, you know, graphics were, you know, basic back then. It was on Sega. I'm not sure if it was Sega Genesis or Sega Entertainment System, but I remember getting it. It was great. You know, Barry Sanders or Emmitt Smith on a sweep was always reliable for a touchdown, and it was just amazing. And, you know, do you have, and I'm actually going to kick it over to Adam here. Adam, can we, I know this is about resolutions, but I get to talk to somebody who works at EA right now and who's living one of my dreams, I think. Can we just can we have some fun, Billy?
Of course.
Permission to have fun, Billy Ho. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about EA Sports.
EA Sports.
And I think we actually have a little sound effect here. Can we run that?
EA
Okay,
Sports.
I don't know. Did you hear that, Billy?
Yep.
Okay, cool. I didn't hear it. So I'm over here in the booth here. All right, cool. So we actually took our time to kind of put that in there. But I want to actually ask you what your top 5. I want to ask you what your top 5 EA Sports games are of all time. And then we can get back to resolutions and self-improvement, all that jazz. But I just want to go off on a tangent here.
That's actually an important New Year resolution too, right? To understand what brings you joy. So, top 5, I would have to say FIFA is definitely my top 1 game.
Number 1, FIFA.
FIFA, and World Cup just ended, so you can imagine how much joy I had for the past few months.
Who's your team in FIFA? Are you what team are you playing with in FIFA?
I was actually playing with the French, so I came close. I came close with the World Cup.
That's awesome. Okay, is Mbappe nasty in FIFA? Is he sick?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know how to use some of those characters. They are very skillful, even in the game itself. So yes,
I love it. Okay. What's your second one, Billy?
Second one, I would have to say Dead Space. Dead Space coming back. So the new.
Okay,
series,
tell me about. See, I'm not even familiar with that title. Tell me about Dead Space.
Dead Space is a ish open world game where it's a role playing game as well, where you go through a story of alien invasion and try to survive. Type game, so a little bit on the horror side, but definitely gets your adrenaline up every single turn.
I dig it. I get so actually, and you're actually teaching me something because I'm always thinking EA Sports, right? But actually, Electronic Arts does more than just sports games.
Yeah, it does. It does, and that's why when you show our logo there with the sound effect, that is the most classic way to know about EA. But there's so much more games within the EA portfolio. Need for Speed is my third one.
Oh, Need for Speed, a classic.
All right.
Oh, man, just stretching my mind right now. Okay. All right. I did not see these coming. Okay. What's number 4?
Number 4 is Dragon Age. Again, it's some sort of role-playing game in one of our studio up in Canada, definitely. So that is also an amazing game.
So Dragon Age, it's called Dragon Age.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it takes in a little bit of the magical theme and dragon fighting, and who doesn't like dragon fighting, right?
Okay, and then we have people coming in here who are saying Oliver Wong saying Rock Band. Oh, nice. Look at this. People are literally going nuts for FIFA right now. Slavin's thanking EA Sports for a portion of his childhood, maybe possibly adulthood. Here, let's see here. This is great. Charles saying, you have to dust that off, Charles. Start playing Need for Speed again. This is great. This is fantastic. All right, what's number 5, Billy?
Number 5 is a little bit more casual game. It's called It Takes Two. It actually won the game award for 2021.
It Takes Two, like the song.
Two.
It takes two to make things go right, like that song.
Exactly.
Only made it better.
And it takes 2 players to play that game.
So you can't play one player. You have to play a 2-player game.
There have been people who play with like 2 controller, but I absolutely do not agree on that. I play with 1 controller with a friend.
So what's the premise of the game? Because I haven't heard of this one either.
It's collaborative between left and right screen. It's something that you have to work with your friend. Usually, it's either your significant half or your best friend, and you try to solve puzzles collaboratively. Like you have to do something on the left for something on the right screen to be able to do something else.
Is it like an escape room, kind of like where you have to solve a puzzle, or am I
a little bit puzzles? Yeah, puzzle escape room type game, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just bought a system for my son who's 7 now, and so I'm just getting back into games, and so you've given me a lot of homework here, Billy. So now I can write these games off as a business expense because it's all research now for the next time I have Billy on. This is awesome here. I noticed that Madden didn't make your top 5, and it's okay. It's okay.
Which is okay. All right.
It's okay. I'm sure it was number 6. This is great. Tyler's saying It Takes Two uses Unreal Engine, which is huge. What is Unreal Engine?
It's one of the gaming engine out there. So how you build all the graphics, how you build all the smooth movement, that's one of the gaming engine called Unreal.
Nice. I'm learning so much. I've been out the game for too long. Okay. All right. Now for the rest of our audience here, yeah, see, it's Daniel, same. Madden number 1 for me. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, Daniel, but let's not tell Billy, okay? It's an opinion. It's pure. There's no wrong answers on Love and Relo, just what Ben thinks and then everybody else. It's okay. It's okay. Now let's get back to all kidding aside. Let's get back to resolutions here. So I know it's about goal setting. It's about list making. Do you want to share maybe some of your specific things that you want to achieve this year, Billy?
Oh yeah, definitely. And so I always believe in the power of 3. So I always have 3 main goals and then drive from there. So my first one is how do we continue to up-level our flexible remote work program?
Okay, and what do you mean by up-level? I want to understand this a little bit.
Okay, so this program was basically born out of the pandemic. So as many other companies might be experiencing as well. Now, how do we up-level? What I mean by that is whether that be smoothing out the process, but depending on how the work trend continue to evolve and the expectation of being able to work remotely, our program needs to evolve to match and align to that market as well. So that's what I meant by up-level. How do we continue to provide the best development employee experience to people who raise their hand that wants to move? How do we use the data that we have to drive some of the decision that we're making now with this program? All of that.
Wow. So So the end result, I think somebody might have mentioned this in their comment, you know, if you were to say, here's where I'd love to get to, what would that look like?
Well, again, providing that flexibility depends on your company culture as well. We are definitely, as EA, we're more open to that idea as we continue to adapt the new ways of working. So again, it's just more about meeting the employee in the middle or meeting their needs in terms of being able to work elsewhere for their personal life, meeting them and what they need. That's what I see is in the future.
Where is the philosophy? You know, I think about this all the time. I mean, I'm here, I'm in an office. Danny Herskowitz, who was with the team, was on yesterday, and he said, you know, Ben, do you miss working from home? And I said, yeah, every morning when I go to work, I miss working from home. But at the same time, I love being in the office, love collaborating. I love working with Adam, our producer here, or Danny, or various team members, or having people come in the studio, whatever, and collaborating. Just came from a meeting in the conference room. You know, it was great to sit around there and all that stuff. Where is the philosophy around remote work versus in office right now? Where are y'all right now?
We are definitely more on the hybrid culture, right? So testing out to see how do we collaboratively work offline? How do we maximize some of those in-person opportunity to build relationship? So again, this within EA is not like we haven't done it before the pandemic. It's just more on the smaller scale. During the pandemic, it just expand 100-fold, 100 times. So now is to find where is that sweet spot to maximize the opportunity that the pandemic has given us to be able to work remotely and still be able to do the work and accomplish the goal that we're all set.
Where do you suspect that sweet spot is? Is it like a number of days, like 3 days in and 2 days out? Is it a week on, week off? Is it based on functional teams being in together? Like, how do you help us understand what you're saying?
Yeah, so I think a couple of ideas that we have is definitely on like there's no one size fit all answer, right? So we have multiple different business unit in terms of developing different type of games. They have different talents, they have different needs. So a lot of those decisions should be made under the business unit who is more on the macro level of the business unit making that call and what works for them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a number of days per week. It doesn't have to be number of weeks per month, right? But it's to enable and allow that in-person collaboration to be purposeful, plan ahead, and plan for a regular cadence that way. Again, it doesn't have to be a number of days or restricted to that quantity, but find out what works.
No, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense for me, and I was just having this conversation over lunch as we're, in office this week, but not normally working together so closely. And it was, we both agreed it was great being together as a lot of knowledge transfer, but the productivity of the work suffered because we're all talking and collaborating and thinking and coaching and inspiring and riffing off one another. But the head down, let me do the units of work, it was suffering. And so it's like, this is great, and we love this. Okay, but now I need to go home so I can actually work and catch up, So it's interesting. And I see, like, my opinion here, but I see people who are maybe like strategic workers being in more and collaborating, and then people who maybe are more production-oriented might need that head-down focus time. And I guess you could do that in the office, or you could have, quiet spaces and whatever, but that head down time. And I see it definitely varying. So I think organizations, kind of do miss out sometimes when they're overly prescriptive and say across the board, this is our across the board policy for all different functional work types, without kind of drilling down to the work that's being done and the quality of work life for that employee.
Absolutely. And again, it's about balancing both aspects of it and maximize the opportunity of in-person, head down, in-person opportunity, collaboration. All of that is just strike a balance. Do
you find that your work suffers when Stinky Tofu is not pulling the strings? and you're at work maybe, and you don't get the puppet master is not at work.
In terms of how fast my emails goes out, definitely Suffer, because he's the one who's actually typing everything.
He's typing the whole time. I love it. Okay, we have a serious question here from the audience here. Do you struggle with employee gaming more than working in their work from home space? These games, I got to be honest, I'm sitting there in front of, I got the game over here. I got the work over here. I'd rather be playing, It Takes Two than, knocking on emails and whatever. Is that a problem?
It's well, again, in my team, I'm one of the gamer, and I am situated in my game room as part of my work room. So all my TV gaming stations to my right. But again, it's more about being conscious about the goals and what I want to do for that 80% of the time. Then the other 20% might be gaming. Who knows, right? If I have that flexibility. So that's what I would say in answering Jeanette's question.
Thanks, Janet. Very, very interesting. Okay, so we talked a little bit about kind of up-leveling that remote work policy and program. What is another maybe resolution you have for this year?
Yeah, the other two is to continue our expansion and development in our internal mobility program. How do we invest into internal talent and make mobility a lever to develop talents across the world? That is something that we always be working on in 2022 as well, and continue to further along in 2023.
That sounds super aspirational. So help me understand a little bit about what that means, because it sounds really cool, but what does it mean maybe in practical terms?
In practical terms is the things that we have done is to influence the mindset of hiring managers on putting the opportunities out there to find the right talent, just like how they would look for a right talent in an external market, right? Often, I think companies suffers, and some of the companies have been already doing pretty well in this space, but suffers in the sense that hiring managers thinks, hey, I know Ben. Ben is amazing. Let me continue to give him the opportunity to work in different cross space, but there might actually be other better talents around if we open up that opportunity and that mindset to other people.
What are some of the biases or blind spots maybe that we see most commonly? Is it that I'm familiar with this person and I'm a friend, they've worked before, therefore they'll work again, so I give all the opportunity to one person? Is it, a geographical, bias around saying, okay, I only want to hire people say in the Bay or in Seattle or in an area versus bringing them from another part of the country or the world? What are maybe some of the key things that are most common for
you
mobility
named the
managers?
two key things already. Definitely the geo and the visibility, the close visibility to how to work and how the person perform. But again, that mindset also limits the development of other internal talents that might actually be better. But allowing that mindset to just be adaptive to other talents out there, just open it up, might just open up different new opportunities.
How does that impact diversity and inclusion in mobility?
For sure. So again, allowing different, just the point of view of opening that mindset to other talents, you can look at it from a diversity perspective. Us mobility coming in is to work on this internal mobility to allow people moving around country, around office, around different space to have that same opportunity as well. And that's the mindset shift that we're driving from a mobility perspective.
I think that this is maybe the next generation of the problem that we were dealing with when I came into this business, which was the seat at the table problem, right? Where global mobility didn't feel like they had a seat at the table. They weren't a part of strategic decision making. And maybe we're in the room now and maybe we have a seat at the table, but now we're trying to change the mindset of the way mobility is viewed. And I guess my question is, Jeanette, a little bit here. I don't know if I'm getting it or not, but I think I want to know what your advice is maybe for other talent mobility managers in the space who are trying to change mindset within their organization?
One of the things that work for us is definitely cross collaborations, right? Bring in partners, bring in supporting partners. Where being a little bit more specific, we brought in tax people, we brought in talent acquisition folks, again, to share and collaborate and to combine power to get that seat in the table. When I first joined the mobility space, I also saw that as a problem that we as mobility group was reactive. We were there to support employee when everything is determined and just give them a good experience, which is important. But to up level and get to a point where we can be part of the strategic planning at the seat at the table, that I feel like the pandemic has given us the opportunity, and now we are part of the discussion whenever there's some strategic move or strategic element like improving internal talent development. We are now being consulted.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's where we want to be, right? We want to be part of the decision-making process and strategic process, right? And not the reactive process, not like, okay, here's 3 assignments, go execute them. It's more like, how should we look at assignments, right? And having those kinds of conversations, I imagine, right?
All of that, we spent time on building the relationship with a different team. Nothing happens tomorrow that, hey, suddenly we become best friends with that group and that group loop us in. That doesn't happen. At least not in my reality. So
right.
We spend a lot of time in building that relationship and building and showcasing our strength and what we can do and what are the mindset and what are some of the ideas that we can bring forward. That got us into this space today.
This is really interesting, and I've got lots of questions. I know you got another resolution to talk about. I want to encourage everybody, if you're watching right now, hit that like button right now. Get in the comments. I see we got people coming in the comments here. I want to know what questions you have. The show is really about you, the viewer, so get in the comments, and we're going to take your questions here. But, Billy, I want to ask you, does it matter where mobility sits? Does that impact the ability of you to make those relationships? Does it matter if it sits in talent? Does it matter if it sits in benefits? Does it matter where it sits?
I personally don't think so. That
Interesting.
with the consideration that you, of course, have to spend time and find and have that supporting leader to bring you to cross collaborate with other groups.
Okay.
We used to be in talent acquisition, and we built a very strong bond with talent acquisition before we move on to people services. And we still have a strong bond with talent acquisition, which is our key partner in the internal mobility project. But now we're building up our relationship with people within people services, so we can build just equivalent of a strong partner there. And all of that, we were reporting in 2 different places, and we still have the same partnership and same string.
Interesting perspective. That's really cool. Let's see. We got people. Look at this. Amanda saying a supporting leader is key. Very cool. We got Toronto checking in. That's like a half dozen countries at least that are checking in here. Let's see here. Robert Horsley. Hey, Robert says, what is the best thing that has come from remote hybrid work for your team?
Just being able to support different businesses across geos. That I would have to say immediately on top of my head being the best thing. Being able to not always be present in the office to be able to have that discussion, but now we can have it virtually and people actually trust in that virtual collaboration.
Okay.
That is one of the best things.
So if I'm understanding, are you saying that like working, like maybe being available in the evening or something like that for another part of the world? I mean, is that flexibility? Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Exactly.
Okay.
And just the overall general confidence in people talking virtually and still being able to get what information they're looking for and get the work done, that we have proven over this past 3 years of pandemic, that is something that we can do.
You know, this is interesting here. Janet brings up a great point as we're talking about kind of creating policies that maybe are inclusive and things. Janet's saying, I would think there could be age influence on hiring at EA. Do you have a type of employee and a kind of a demographic? Does it skew towards, younger gamer generations? Or, I mean, is that Is that a fair
I
guess
wouldn't.
that she makes?
I definitely would not say that age is a determining factor, and I don't think that's what Jenna is referring to. But I think our whole main goal is to hire the best talent, and so developing that younger age talent is also very important for us as well, which is something we're well invest into our next gen program to bring up the new younger talents.
Cool. Tyler has a question. What are the primary barriers you found in companies and teams who struggle with adapting global mobility strategies and policies? How have you overcome those barriers?
I think one thing that I have seen personally in a couple of these projects is they don't understand what we do, not initially. And so spending time in that area, showing them the data and how we expand the mobility program and how we support our employee and how we expand the culture in the diversity and having diverse talents everywhere, showing them the data helped us a lot in crossing that barrier of not understand what we do, whether that be retention, whether that be development, or just how long tenure the person have stayed, or what have they accomplished in terms of games. All of that are existing data that we have, and we tap into those.
You know, that's really a great point you bring up about data. I mean, not every talent mobility manager has great data. Either they don't have access to it, or they haven't compiled it, or stored it properly. It takes time to have data. What advice would you give to a counterpart, maybe at another company, who's kind of starting their data journey? What is the best way to get that started in a way that can make compelling arguments in the years to come?
I would say the data are already existing within every company. So it's more about finding ways to tap into it and what do you want to tell out of it as a story, right? So get some ideas by talking to other peers about what, or talk to other business leaders. What do they want to know from their spend in mobility? And get those corresponding data as a first step, and then report it out just to get
So
that.
you
first
mentioned spend.
connection. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you mentioned spend as one, and spend is obviously a huge one, right? What's another data, what are some other data maybe that you would start with?
We use a lot of those retention data,
Okay.
right? Because that was one of the problem statement was how do we continue to maintain and retain our talents? Okay, all right. So let us look into the data for those who have had mobility experience or those who have had some sort of rotational experience versus those who don't. Those data should already be existing in any companies. If not, that's something to look into.
Have you seen a correlation between folks with a mobility event in their career and their retention?
Definitely. There's
Really?
a positive trend in terms of the difference of people who have had different opportunity, whether that be mobility, internal rotation, definitely have shown a more positive in terms of the length of stay, the tenure, as compared to people who hasn't.
I mean, that's got to be a very persuasive argument, especially coming out of the talent crunch that we've been in for several years. Being able to show that someone's going to be at the company for X years longer because of the assignment that they were on, it's got to be very persuasive.
It is, and it's very very powerful statement when it's backed by data. I always believe in that. Is, hey, I think this is the trend, but doesn't it sound so much better when we say, hey, this is the trend based on the data?
So then, do you see that mobility moves from, say, a benefit that's made to enable someone's smooth transition to another place where they can be effective physically, into a strategic tool for upskilling, retention, like value creation? I mean, where now it goes from being almost a cost center to being, dare I say, a profit center or close to it?
That is definitely, I think, what all of us are looking to do, right? I think that's one of the North Star. And I think, yes, it's definitely an opportunity now that we can shift ourselves to. I always believe in this as well. We can do more than just moving people.
I like, honestly, I think that should be all of our slogans. We can do more than just moving people. right? I think that we have to aspire more greatly than to just move people. That's so transactional, right? It's like, how do we move careers? How do we move to opportunity? I mean, I think the story of global mobility is the story of upward mobility, right? And the story of the immigrant or the expat is the story of the entrepreneur, the person that's looking for a better opportunity, and they're going to take their company along with them for that ride. And I think there's so much opportunity. I love the way you put that, Billy.
Oh, thank you. And that's my motivator and drivers as well, because that's keep me in line of what I want to do and why I'm having fun in the mobility space.
Speaking of fun, we got to answer. There's been a pressing question lingering that I've neglected. And I apologize to everyone here. I've not asked this. Does Billy have his own hidden character? People want to know this. Is it like left, right, A, B, X, Y?
Good question, Oliver. I will need to talk to some of my engineering friends and animator friends and see if I can pull some strings.
Can we pull some
next time
strings?
we see each other, you might see me on a FIFA game. Who knows?
Just not everybody say not the cover of Madden, because it is a curse. Everybody gets on the cover of Madden gets injured for some reason. Janet Turner also wants to know, Gamer Mom here, does Billy have a Twitch channel? I pay $4.99 for a subscription to see and talk to my son. Just kidding, maybe.
No, I don't have a Twitch channel, but I definitely join many channels and hear.
Billy, should I have a Love and Reload Twitch channel? I mean, is that where we're going to, Billy? Am I behind the times? I'm over here on LinkedIn messing around. Do I need to be on Twitch?
Hey, you might just get different audience and different portfolio. And if you want to do like a cross collaboration, Love and Reload plus gaming, you got me down.
Yes. Honestly, that's how we're going to appeal to this next generation, right? We got to meet people where they are, right? This is great. Robert Horsley says enabling talent worldwide. Rajat says move people versus propelling careers. So we're test driving some new slogans for global mobility here. People are digging the motivation. Henri in France here checking in. This is great. Love the questions. Now, Billy, you said you had 3 resolutions. You have one more to give us here. What is your third resolution, Billy?
Right. My third one is to incorporate flexibility into mobility, or expand the employee voice mobility. What that means is to allow the mobility package, enable the flexibility where employee gets to choose what benefit that they use, what they want. To build the mobility journey, to be part of that experience and building out that journey for themselves. That's what I'm looking.
Okay. All right. I have so many questions. So in your mind's eye here, as you're envisioning this flexible mobility experience, does this resemble like a Core Flex program? Does this resemble like a points program? Are there some benefits that are not flexible? Like, listen, I know you don't think you need this, but you're getting it. How do you balance all that?
Yeah, good question. And that's what I've been talking to different peers and different partners in absorbing ideas.
Yeah.
And it could just as well be, yes, Core Flex. It could be all flex. Again, it could be point system. It could be a cafeteria. It could be choose your breakfast, lunch, and dinner and dessert menu type of thing. Again, that is an option. But the idea is to allow the employee to be part of that journey and building out the experience and building out their relocation package. That is my North Star for this New Year resolution.
Okay. In this scenario, is there a cash option?
I think that will always provide some flexibility to cover any miscellaneous spending that might not be covered by benefits. So I think that's also important. But it's more about educating and guiding them to understand what they might be giving up in order for that cash allowance.
Yeah, Amanda's saying we could have a call about this point alone. We are in the same space right now. Amanda, that's awesome.
Amanda, hit me up.
Yeah, put in the comments too if you have any questions you want to ask about it or things that we can kind of play with here. This is great. Henri saying playing Star Wars battalions together. Yes. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have in the metaverse one day, just kind of getting together. We had a metaverse meetup last year, I think it was, or maybe it was 2 years ago. It's like full COVID, metaverse meetup. I think 2 people showed up. We'll have to work on that a little bit. Let me ask you though. I mean, gamer, talking about metaverse, digital immersive universes, virtual reality. How does this play out, and how does it impact mobility in 10 years?
Interesting question. I honestly don't have an answer for that. I have some personal guess at best we're basically in a virtual reality space, so to speak, or virtual space. So it's to make our surrounding more reality and more attainable in a sense is my understanding of the virtual reality world. So that's my understanding of metaverse.
Yeah, it's interesting because in a way we're in a virtual world right now, having a virtual conversation with a virtual audience who's virtually asking questions, and we're virtually answering them. Janet's asking questions as a supplier. How can suppliers support you and spark your interest? What's intriguing? What can a supplier do?
I mentioned about bringing ideas, right? Just collaborating ideas and sharing ideas. That in itself is already a great input for me in terms of understanding what other people might be doing. What are some of the things that I'm not seeing or I'm not thinking of? That will be a good first step already.
Yeah, I could see that curiosity. I can see you're a type of person that's really curious, always looking for ideas, looking to stretch your mind a little bit. Let me stretch your mind a little bit outside of work stuff, because we talked a lot about work. What are some of your aspirations for this year, maybe outside of work?
Outside of work, I definitely have one particular aspiration.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
For those people who have watched Mythbuster, I'm a fan of Mythbuster. I love to bust myth in a sense. So there's one particular one that I always, again, this is my personal motivation, aspiration. I like to bust the myth and stereotype of Asian being quiet.
All right.
I'm leading by example by speaking out, because I can do it. You can all do it. Speak up, have fun, especially in this mobility space.
I love it. How can I support?
Definitely. The work you and Adam are doing with the show, giving that as an option, as an avenue for people like us and people like myself to speak up, that is already a big help, and continue to allow me to build relationship through your show. With look at all these audience and comments. That's how I continue to build relationship and just be out there and be an example for other people who. It doesn't necessarily have to be Asian. Again, I'm not limiting to that, but anybody who are a little bit shy from speaking up, I hope I am an example today, and just standing up and just speaking up, because that's what makes it fun in this space.
You know what? And that's you bring up a great point, because I was aware of you. We may have met, at previous events, like in passing kind of thing, or like kind of seeing each other or whatever. And I was aware of you, but, we really, I feel like, met and connected the most for the first real time at BAM recently last year. And it was cool to like really get actually have a conversation, even though it was brief, but like actually have a conversation with you. And it was cool that you were aware of what I was doing, and I was aware of you, but we hadn't connected the dots, and you were like, yeah, I'd love to be on. And I was like, sweet. And we made it happen. But, if I didn't, I'm just thinking kind of how I support and everything. But if I wasn't at BAM, and it was only my second time at BAM, I'm not a West Coast guy, all the time. Right. But I wouldn't have ran into you, and we wouldn't be here today talking. So maybe you could give me some advice, Billy. How can I be more inclusive about my guests and getting people on here, and like reaching out to people who aren't the most obvious choice, right? There's some people obviously always have their hand up, always on panels, always doing their thing. How can I go out and find those voices maybe that are a little more shy, subdued, And
I always think everything is a two-way street. So it all depends on, people who might be a little bit shy to also raise their hand and speak up, and look at any one of us as example and use that as a motivator. But at the same time, I think continue to run the show, man. Continue to just ask people for recommendation of who should, and just have volunteers in a sense by, from me, from other people who's been on the show and had a great time, for names, and just invite them and just let them have some fun space. Again,
Yeah.
that's the reason why I love the mobility space. Is there's every one of us are like part of the family. Like I have no barrier. I have fun with this group, and that's why I'm here. And I'm glad that you invited me to be on the show. It's because I can actually say this as one of my aspirations, because it is true.
Well, please, thank you, and please do send me any recommendations. And also, if you're watching right now, hit that like button, support Billy. We're happy he's here today. Also, if you have somebody that you know that wants to be on the show, put them in the comments, tag them, or send a direct message to Adam Sotelo, our producer, and we're going to start, working on our schedule and everything. We're a few weeks out, but I mean, we have slots. We're going to be doing 3 days a week throughout the remainder of the year. We're going to be doing more on-site stuff as well. I met you at BAM the day before. I think I covered the truck pull there at the USS Hornet, to raise money for Move for Hunger. So I think that we're going to be doing more in-person stuff, which is really exciting, and bringing it kind of all over the world too. We've got some questions and comments coming in. Great message. Put your fears aside, expand your boundaries, and see the benefits for everyone in your world. Ooh, super cool.
Very true.
Amanda, sorry, go ahead, Billy.
No, I said very true. Very true.
Amanda saying, Billy Ho, I respect your voice, and you always come to mind when I'm trying to figure things out, but I never reach out. That will change, so look out. I'm coming your way.
Please reach out. I love to have any casual conversation. Just reach out, say hi, even.
That's super cool. Yeah, isn't it funny, like how many times we think of people and we don't say anything? Yeah. I like the idea of asking people for recommendations. Yeah, again, please, if you have any recommendations, people you'd love to see on here, I'd love to hear them. Billy, I'm going to ask you for a prediction. What does 2023 have in store for us?
Ooh, that's a big question. I don't have my crystal ball around me, but I would have to say there's definitely a lot of challenges, but that also represent a lot of opportunities, the way how I look at it. The anticipated tough market and downturn of market is definitely going to be a challenge. But
when you say market, do you mean stock market, housing market, like a job market? Like what do you mean by market?
Job market and people, the public fear in terms of job security and spending is then impacted, and all that is, how then people purchase consumer products like us, right? The games is definitely going to be impacted. I feel like this is again what my personal view is, my personal crystal ball is telling me. But I honestly think that the solve is really have the proper planning. Again, stay true to your goals, stay true to how you use data to forecast, and how to leverage the existing data, and allowing the stakeholders to understand what's their investment and what we do as a group. I think that is enough, and what we can do on our own as mobility to handle the challenge upcoming.
Yeah, love it. No, that's great. I agree with a lot of them. I think that the it's interesting with the recession. The recession's been pending, it feels like, for a year. I'm just saying. But it's definitely hitting sectors differently. Just like COVID hit sectors. Like some people did well in COVID financially. Some people just got crushed, right? Restaurants got crushed. Hospitality got crushed. Like so many people got crushed, right? And then, knowledge workers and developers who could just go home and just kind of continue working and, whatever. And, did all right, and now we're seeing those, a lot of developers and a lot of staff from Silicon Valley and things like that who are just getting crushed right now, and it's, your heart goes out to people. And I wonder, how this time that's coming up is going to affect people, and how it's going to affect people differently. Or does it affect us all, equally? I'm kind of curious. I'm curious what you're seeing, as someone in the kind of the technology space.
There's a lot of anticipation, a lot of preparing, I would say. That's about all I could anticipate. And again, challenges comes opportunities. What we continue to do what you do, continue to plan for what you want to do, and be purposeful on utilizing some of those opportunity and data, and just look at those challenges as opportunities to do better or do something different as it may. And that was the best way to prepare your mindset, I would say.
Yeah, I think we do over index for externalities, right? We're worried so much about what's going to happen to us that sometimes we forget to worry what we're doing about the situation, how we're planning, how we're meeting the day, how we're preparing and providing contingencies for these things. And I think that's really good counsel going into these uncertain times. I mean, you want to lift uncertainty, start preparing. You'll feel a lot better. It goes for meetings. It goes for, the economy. It's like, so I definitely agree with that. I want to go back to Worldwide ERC event in Vegas. Did you attend Worldwide ERC in Vegas?
I attended.
What did you think of the event?
I thought the event was great. It was my first time, and I really enjoyed both meeting with the corporates and sharing ideas, and finally get to see people after many years of pandemic. So I thought the event was well planned.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. We had a really cool studio session there at the Wynn, and it was a lot of fun. So so as your first time, is there one like takeaway or learning maybe that you brought back from that? 'Cause sometimes I leave those things in my head as a whirlwind, and I just wake up and I got a stack of business cards like that, and I don't know what happened, right? Is there anything that you kind of brought back and you were like, that moment or that opportunity was really cool, and I'm happy I went for that one thing?
Definitely able to collaborate and meet people again and build that strong in-person relationship. That was one key takeaway for sure. And I encourage people to attend ERC for that, as well as share your idea. I was in a panel, and because that is what I love to do, and that is what I want my image to be. Try to be on a panel and just speak up and share your ideas. It doesn't have to be on a panel. You could just share your idea as audience as well. Utilize those avenues.
Yeah, I love how intentional you're being about speaking and everything. I think that's really cool. And Mark says, Ben and everyone here, come on up to Canada, CERC conference in Vancouver in September. I love Vancouver. That's awesome. Billy, we're running out of time, but I want to make time for one more thing. You want to have some fun with me?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's play overrated, underrated. Do you know how to play this game, Billy?
I have watched your show before. Definitely know how.
All right, awesome. That's cool. All right, overrated, underrated. I'm going to throw something at you, a topic, and you are going to tell me if it is overrated or underrated, and I will tell you if you are correct or you're absolutely crazy. So let's begin. The first topic, Adam. Flexible and remote work, overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Underrated. I mean, we're already working from home. We've been working from home for years now. How could it possibly be underrated?
There's a lot more opportunities there. Again, that is the reason why that is one of my New Year resolution. There's a lot more opportunities there to leverage what the pandemic has given us. Take that as an opportunity and run with it, because that program is powerful.
I think you make a good point, and I love your point about being able to service other geographies and being available and the flexibility that comes with it. So it's also great from a talent sourcing and not restricting your pool to people within a 30-minute radius of the office, So
yeah, exactly.
All right, you may get a point for that one, Billy. All right, next one, Adam. Robots and AI taking over our jobs. The robots are coming. Billy, save us. Is it overrated or underrated?
Too bad I don't know any of the coding to help with the robot, but I think it's overrated.
Overrated. So we are not going to lose our jobs. Love and Relo is not going to be hosted by a chat bot next year, according to Billy. And I will not be rocking an avatar instead of a LinkedIn headshot. You don't think?
I think overrated in the sense that we as people are so creative that when we streamline a process or streamline a problem or collaborate different ideas into a robot and AI, we come up with new ones. We come up with new problems.
I like where you're going, but I was on that chat. Oh gosh, what is it called? Chat PT, the one with the letters. Help me out. GPT, Chat GPT, was that it? Oh my gosh. I just what should I get my wife for Christmas? Boom. Amazing essay answer come out of that thing. what is the purpose of global mobility? I put a video of this on LinkedIn, and it gave me like pretty much the value prop I've been espousing for 3 years. I'm like, man, it just came up like off the top. I'm like, oh goodness, I'm in trouble. So I don't know, man. This stuff's getting good. I don't know. I don't think a Ben robot would be this handsome, but it would definitely be this smart.
It would
That's all I'm
definitely
saying.
not be as fun, I would have to say, for sure. And again, it pushed each one of us to continue to improve and adapt and learn new things.
I love it. All right. I like competition, just not from robots. Adam, next topic. World Cup, overrated or underrated?
Underrated. There's not enough talk in this world that could cover World Cup, and there should be way more than that. That tells you my love for FIFA and my love for World Cup.
Yeah, it was the final was unreal. Unreal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like the Argentine fans, like, oh my gosh. Anyway, yes, I agree with you. Definite point for Billy on that one. All right, next topic. Video games, underrated or overrated?
Personally, I think is underrated. There should be more people playing video games or talk about video games. It's actually now called a ninth form of art for a reason, right? Because games allow us people to experience what they can't or easily be able to do in real life. Ninth form of art.
A ninth form of art. Okay. I didn't know that. All right. Ninth form of art.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next topic. Last topic, Adam. Saying yes, overrated or underrated?
A lot of people, and you included, Ben, tell me if you disagree. I think it's overrated.
Oh, saying yes is overrated. This is great because now we're going to disagree, I think. Tell me why, Billy.
Empower yourself to say no. Yeah. You don't always have to say yes.
All right. I dig it. I like where you're going with this. Saying yes when you don't want to is overrated. No, saying yes when... Wait, did I do that wrong? Saying no, empowering yourself to say no. I don't argue with that. I love that. I mean, protect your time and focus your energies on where they need to go. And there's just things that'll steal your time and energies and focus and attention. I like that. But at the same time, I think people don't say yes for the wrong reasons. And what I mean is they don't say yes out of fear. It's not that they're trying to protect their time, focus, energies, whatever, prioritize things that are important. It's like, I'm afraid to speak on that panel, or I'm afraid to get a seat at the table and really bring a controversial idea forward or ask for something, right? I feel like people don't say yes out of fear a lot. So I guess it kind of goes to the motivation, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And comes to the motivation, comes to really understanding why you say yes and why you say no. But don't limit yourself to only saying yes when people asking for your help. It's okay to say no. Yes. And
this is also the man who started out the segment by saying I like to get my teammates to help me with things. So not those people can still have to say yes to Billy, okay? It's the rest of you out there who have been saying yes for the wrong reasons. You know who you are. But protecting your focus. I dig it. I like it. I'll allow it. Sounds good. Let's see here. Quinn Harker saying no is a superpower. Look at that. He's a super no. Anthony Hughes. Hey, Anthony. Good to see you. Really great show. Love seeing you guys. Good seeing you too, Anthony. This is fantastic. Billy, you want to leave us with a final thought as we close out today?
I just enjoy the show. Again, continue to do the great work that you're doing. For those people to help me on my personal aspiration, speak up, reach out to Ben, reach out to me, reach out to anybody on the audience. Say hi and just get started on whether that be a one-on-one discussion and grows into a 1-to-2, 1-to-3, and 1 to all the audience in there. It's just a matter of steps and time. Just give it a try.
I love it. Great message. Thank you, Billy Ho, Talent Mobility Senior Manager at Electronic Arts. And thank you to everyone out there who watched. We would not have a show without you. So to everyone who got in the comments, hit that like button, give yourself a round of applause, give Billy a round of applause, and thank you so much to our super producer, Adam Sotelo, for making it all happen behind the scenes. Billy, thank you for being here. I can't wait to see you again in person.
Definitely.